Filmmaker Lee Stanley's documentary, The Gridiron Gang, told the story of a juvenile prison camp's Cinderella football season. Then Lee produced a box office hit with the same name, starring Hollywood actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Movie did well. It was #1 at the box office, which always feels good, you know. Yeah. And because of Dwayne's passion for the original documentary, they stayed to it. 85% of the completed film is a direct lift, and I thank God for it.
Cut. That's not a typical Hollywood turn of phrase. However, it's Lee's storyline and the subject of his recent memoir, Faith in the Land of Make-Believe. In a brutally honest portrayal of his life and career in Hollywood, the 5-time Emmy-winning filmmaker recounts his journey from self-absorbed actor to loving husband and father.
Because of my sports background, I was given a lot of opportunities to double stars or actors. And I sensed this one guy just eyeballing me. And at the break, he came over to me and he said, "Can you act?" And I said, "I can lie just as good as the next guy." And it turned out to be the head of new talent in MGM Studios. I started running with some stunt guys when I first got in the motion picture business. And they were racers. And I thought, this looks like fun. So that's how I started with it. I loved it. Great high. So I want to do a documentary on the biggest races in the world, which is these desert races that I was involved in. And that was my first project, and I loved it. I decided that's what I want to do. That's where I get excited, behind the camera. Everybody thought I had it going because I had a little tiny film company. I enjoyed life. You know, I enjoyed racing. I enjoyed diving. But it was, you know, like that Peggy Lee song, that, you know, is that all there is?
He racked up 2 failed marriages, and he was estranged from both his children.
I didn't know how to make my life work, and I was scared to death that somebody would find out. So I put up a front, like I had it all together. Like everything was working just fine. I'm sure the womanizing part had a lot to do with that. You know, I'm accepted, you know, all this kind of stuff.
What about that part? I mean, that was obviously a big part of your life, and 2 failed marriages. You couldn't relationally make things work.
With anybody.
So Lee stuck to what he was good at, filmmaking.
And I found a distributor that liked what I did, and Dave Adams at Pyramid Films. And that turned my entire life around. He caught me off guard. They invited me to church on the way to Pastor Jack Hayford's church. And as I went through the doors, the Lord impressed upon me, we'll put it that way. He said, "Welcome home, Lee. We have a lot of things to do together." And I did the only macho thing I could do. I cried. And it was tears of release. It wasn't tears of pain. It was just tears just started pouring out of my eyes. I couldn't wait for the service to be over because I hadn't cried in years. You race motorcyclists, you're in Hollywood, you don't cry. And I snuck back the following Sunday. Didn't tell anybody I was going, and I accepted Christ. When I got saved, I got filled, and I never knew I was empty. And that was 34 years ago, Scott.
With Christ, Act 2, if you will, of Lee's life and career has a completely different script. He met and married Linda shortly after becoming a Christian, and they will soon celebrate 35 years of marriage together. Filmmaking became a family passion, and the Emmy-winning series Desperate Passage came out of a heart to help kids no one believed in.
We had a plethora of letters that said, "You really encouraged me that I'm not a loser and that there is hope in my life."
Lee says learning to love his wife and to restore his relationships with his son Shane and daughter Quinn from his previous marriages has been the biggest reward of his life. He says that God wrote that story.
And then you read in scriptures, He will give you the secret desires of your heart. He's the only one that can do it. And I look at that and I think there's no life without Christ. And He wants to shape your life so you can be used to His glory, which is the greatest fulfillment of your life.